Black Country Radio.
Welcome. We're using the Mary Stevens Hour for something quite special today because we've got a new book coming out by, it is Michael Braccia. Really we're going to talk about the book, but also maybe have a bit of music, have some readings from the book. But first, before we start about the new book, tell us about your writing, really, because you do write quite prolific in a way.
Well, this is my fourth book.
Yeah.
I had a couple of books out 7 or 8 years ago. My first one was a book called Could It Be That Way? Living with Autism, which is semi-autobiographical. Some of it was fiction, and it's about a man who has a son with autism. So it's not about the boy, it's about the man, and the impact on the family of autism, on relationships and so on. And that's what that... And the second book was a collection of short stories called Banfield Tales, which had comedy, romance, science fiction, ghost stories, a lot of different genres.
So had you always written? Have you written from a young age and it just developed, or was it a light bulb moment? You think, I'm going to do this?
Not really. I always wanted to write, and I always wanted to learn to play a musical instrument. And I really did neither of those things because family and having a son with autism, Philip, and a career, mainly in IT and then in the care sector. I had a very busy life, and then I had to care for both my wife and my son. So I never got round until I finally retired early, closed my business, started writing, doing what I always wanted to write and have a book in the Dudley Libraries. So I've got 3, because the third book I co-wrote with a very good friend of mine, John Marks, and actually you did the foreword for it, Leaford Village.
Yeah.
And we'd been writing for the Express and Star for, it was about 4 years, and that was serialised in the Star, and we did a few episodes on Black Country on the Umber and Chain show as well. That was Leaford Village, and that was really sort of quirky, amusing tales of village life. But I'd never done what I would call a proper fiction novel, contemporary fiction. And I've always wanted to do this, and it's been a few years in the making. So this is a little bit different, and I chose a subject that I know nothing about, the paranormal, supernatural. So some people have said to me, is this your subject? And I said, no, nothing could be.
So do you set yourself up to be knocked down by folks that it is their field, as if to say, or did you have to be factually correct? Or
Well, because it's not a factual book, it's a fiction. There are some things in there, themes of mythology, that I had to research that part of it, where modern life clashes with old tales, that sort of thing. But I just wanted a challenge, really. But I'm not afraid of someone saying, well, that thing or that thing about the afterlife or whatever, that's not how it happens, because a lot of people don't believe in that anyway. But people that do, it's just, if you like, my take on it. But it's a fictional story, and when we talk about the story itself, you see what I mean. But it was really for the challenge of doing something that it took me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah,
and that was the challenge to do that.
Was the methodology different to the way you produced your books before, in a way?
Yes, because Leaford Village was a collection of, it was episodic, a collection of the first 41 episodes. We did 128 altogether, and that's finished now, by the way.
You've completed that?
We've finished
Village.
Leaford
That's done and dusted.
Yeah. There's enough for 2 more books. I mean, John has said one day we'll get back when because he's so busy as well, and he's also writing. Methodology, I've got a certain way of writing. I always do a lot of planning first and have a chart with all the characters. And I write by hand, say 500 words a day.
Yeah.
and then I type it on a computer so I can start to spell check it and start to structure it better. That's Philip in the background.
Yeah, Philip's here. Philip's here with us, folks.
Philip.
And me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yes, you've
Can I just
introduced your
remind you,
good
it's actually
lady.
138. 138 episodes.
138 episodes.
Is it 130?
Well corrected. Well corrected.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the first book was 41 episodes.
Yeah.
But this is very, very different. So it's a debut in a way. Although it's my fourth book. I say it's my debut contemporary fiction.
Do you find writing as a cathartic as a release then? Because of you know, the journey that you've had and the experiences that you've had?
Yes.
Was it almost a cathartic thing?
It is, although in recent, the last year or so, I've done a lot less writing because we've been so busy with the music. We've been writing songs. We've written another 5-6 songs this year. And of course, we got married in April.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we've had quite a busy year.
Big year, yeah.
So in terms of the writing, it's been mainly editing, hasn't it? Editing this
Yeah,
and getting
the
this,
book was
getting this published.
finished earlier in the year, and then
Yeah.
you've had it professionally edited, but we've also
Yeah.
done our own proofreading and editing.
Yeah.
And what method of publication? Did you do Amazon Kindle? Did you self-publish? Did you get a publisher?
There's two separate little stories. With Leaford Village, John and I approached 47 agents and publishers.
Really?
Yeah. And for this, I submitted 29 times. Mainly the big, turned down by all the big London publishers.
Oh, yeah.
He got absolutely no chance. And came to the conclusion, if you've put a lot of years into something, you want to publish it. The only option really for people like us is self-publishing.
Yeah.
So I selected Amazon because I've used them before. So it's the fourth book with Amazon. Leaford Village was published by John, although we're co-writers, but he did the submitting to Amazon. So I decided to go that route. But I've had it, Mark Jones runs MJ Editing, and I was one of his first customers with his new editing business. So the editor is Mark Jones.
Yeah.
Used to work with.
And if there's folks out there that want to publish, Amazon Kindle is quite a good method in it, because I don't.
It is.
If I'm right, there's no outlay, and you just enter an agreement with Amazon.
There's no initial outlay, and the costs might be if you're doing some advertising and author copies that you might buy. If you want to sell for cash at gigs that you do or whatever, or give your sister a Christmas present, so you can buy your own copies. But no, there's no initial outlay. Somebody said to me the other day when we talked about Amazon Kindle, I tend to just call it Amazon because there's a bit of a misunderstanding. Someone said to me the other day, why don't you do it in book form? And I said, well, I am, because I'm doing it in paperback and Kindle format.
Yeah.
I think some people think when we call it Amazon Kindle that it's only in Kindle format. We've been doing some voluntary work at the Beacon Centre for the Blind. We've done some gigs there and some author talks, and they've asked me about an audio book. What we've discovered is quite a few of them are quite happy to listen to the Kindle. The voice might not be perfect, but it's getting better and better. So people that have a visual impairment...
Yeah, I think the cost for an actual audio book was too expensive, wasn't it?
Doing an audio book is very expensive.
Yeah.
But to produce the Kindle, again, no outlay. It's just that Amazon take a large slice of the cake.
The cake, yeah.
You know,
and if
so-
you want to, as I say, if you want to, I don't know, get them in shops, you've got to purchase from Amazon and then work out your own deal with the shop.
Yeah, I mean, there's no chance of getting into Waterstones, for example.
No.
They will only deal with, the
main
big
publishers.
I mean, the big six in London really
Yeah.
dominate. Sort of Bloomsbury and HarperCollins, those sort of people. And I've tried to get into them. I read a book by Terry Wogan. I even tried Terry Wogan's agent and publisher.
No.
And sometimes you get a reply from them, which is nice, but
Yeah.
very often you don't even get a reply. But I got as far as the last four with a couple of them.
Some
but
small
then-
independent ones showed an interest, didn't they?
Yeah, but there are thousands of people doing
Well,
it.
yeah, I suppose there are in it. They just get inundated with copies, don't
Very
they?
competitive market.
Very competitive.
You know. So
Shall we play your first record and then we'll get into the book?
Yes, that's lovely.
So you first one was Bread, Diary. So tell us about your selection.
Oh yeah, I mean these are all songs that we cover as Second Chance, myself and Leslie, and we do our own interpretation. But I love singer-songwriters. You know, Simon and Garfunkel, Elton John, David Gates, and David Gates at Bread. He's done some fabulous songs, and I love to listen to them and play them.
We like songs that tell a story, and this is a really good example of that.
Yeah, fabulous. So we'll have a listen to it, shall we?
Diary, yeah.
This is Bread and Diary.
I found her diary underneath the tree and started reading about me. The words she'd written took me by surprise. You'd never read them in her eyes. They said that she had found the love she'd waited for. Wouldn't you know it? She wouldn't show it. Then she confronted with the writing there, simply pretended not to care. I passed it off as just in keeping with her total disconcerting air. And though she tried to hide the love that she denied, wouldn't you know it? She wouldn't show it. And as I go through my life, I will give to her, my wife, all the sweet things I can find. I found her diary underneath the tree and started reading about me. The words began to stick and tears to flow. Her meaning now is clear to see. The love she'd waited for was someone else, not me. Wouldn't you know it? She wouldn't show it. And as I go through my life, I will wish for her his wife, all the sweet things she can find, all the sweet things they can find.
That's Bread and a track called Diary, David Gates. So let's get on to the book then. So tell us where the idea come from and a bit about the book, and then we'll do your first reading.
Yeah, one thing we didn't say, it's out on Thursday the
9th of
January.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Amazon. And you can get there via my website, michaelbraccia.co.uk, and it's out in paperback and Kindle on that day. The title is Vision of Another Life, and I'm holding it up for Billy to see.
Yeah,
which is
radio.
great for radio because no one can.
They can see us on our video. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, Vision of Another Life, and it's a paranormal, supernatural mystery. And we've discussed, because I really didn't know, apart from watching horror films, really didn't know much about the subject. We discussed the difference between paranormal and supernatural.
Right.
We don't have to go into that if you don't get into this stage. What it's about, basically, is a man wakes up in a strange village, and initially he's blind, and his sight comes back, then he can't hear, and his memory's gone. Initially he has no idea where he is, who he is, anything, and bits start to come back. And I'll read what I'm going to do is read the back page of the book, which is the blurb, and to give you an idea. Vision of another life. Ben Stone wakes up in the village, a strange but somehow familiar place. At first he is blind, but gradually his sight returns. As it does, he explores the village and discovers that what was once familiar to him has now changed out of all recognition. He has no idea why he's there. Gradually, memories of his past life come back to him, and he's desperate to return to that life. However, someone or something is trying to hold him back. We go back to witness Ben's life before he arrived in the village, not without its problems, but essentially a happy family life. However, although Ben is shielded and protected by his family, there are many hints and threats of what is yet to come. Ben does not believe in the afterlife, but he is challenged by evidence of predestination and the possibility of an existence beyond the life he knows. A mystery with an ordinary family falling into the realm of the supernatural.
Ooh.
the music.
So when you started to plan, did you have an idea of the end? I mean, you see loads of writers, don't they? And it's like, well, I know what the end's going to be. I just have to work up to the end, or I'll just start and it just goes where it goes. How did it evolve organically?
Oddly, when I was doing Banfield Tales, short stories, I'd written 25 or 30 short stories, submitted some to competitions with Writing Magazine. Never won anything. My other writing partner, John Marks, came second twice. I was very envious of that, but I never won. But I did loads of short stories, and one of them was a tale about a man who wakes up in a village.
Oh, right.
It was 1,600 words, which is the standard short story for competition entries. And it came to some sort of conclusion. And when I was looking to see what would write my novel, I looked through my short stories and I thought, hang on, this could be expanded. And it ended up as, 71,000 words. So from a 1,600 word short story, it's sort of unrecognisable now. But that was the sort of the egg, if you like.
And do you take? I'll ask Leslie really. As he's going through it, do you read it, the chapters and that, and then you'll go, well, actually, I wouldn't do that. I'd go this way.
To be honest, it was already pretty much fully formed by the time I came along 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I read it. I read it in manuscript form.
Yeah.
And. It's a good story. I mean, I like that sort of thing anyway. It's the sort of thing I would read. And then when other things got in the way, we were doing other stuff and music, and then we came back to this to take it further. So I had to read it again and was helping with the proofreading and the editing. So there were some tweaks, but mostly it was all there. So, I don't think I had any input into actually changing the story because it was all sort of fully formed.
When I first wrote it, I mean, as I say, it was 2015-16 when I did the other two books, and I wanted to write a novel. And when I first wrote it, it was 60,000 words, which is only just about long enough for a novel. It's longer than a novella, but it's in between. And my intention was to do a shorter novel and do a follow-up, do a sequel. And it was actually my financial advisor. She happened to be in a reading group, and she knew someone who was an author. He wanted to remain anonymous, but he assessed it for me.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he said, if I were you, I would expand this and come to a conclusion. So I wrote another 12,000 words over the next year in between doing other stuff. So it started as a short story.
But how did you unpick that then? How did you decide which parts to expand and which parts?
I started from scratch.
You just went straight back to the beginning? I started from scratch, from the first word, and I changed the word. The opening paragraph is completely different. It was just the idea.
So really, from the short story, I just took the concept of somebody in this strange village. I mean, it is loosely based in my head. It's based on King Swinford, and the village is called Leaford Village, because all of my writing takes place in the town of Bunfield, which is Dudley, and Leaford Village is King Swinford.
So in your writing then, do you use, I mean, obviously then, is that because you're influenced from your locality, or it's just easier to use reference points that you know yourself?
That's right. You need a reference point. So when you're talking about, for example, he wakes up before he can see, because his senses are all over the place, and he can feel tarmac, and he can sense that it's a very wide drive, so it's not a house, and he's working out what is this building, is it a shop, is it a church? And I used the physical reference points near where I live for those sort of things. So when he gets to walk through the village and he sees things, I'm using real buildings, library, hairdressers, the market, but they're not particularly significant to the plot. But it's just that it grounds it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you've got a grounding, don't you?
Got a grounding.
Would anybody recognise that you've used local places, or is it disguised enough to not?
It doesn't matter either way, really.
Yeah.
Because it's not disguised. It's like because all of my stories are in the town of Banfield, and there are various villages. One of them is Leaford Village, and I've always said that's based on King Swinford. So, and this has no connection to the light drama Leaford Village at all. It's just a place, you know. But so it's not, as I say, significant to the plot. But you have to ground it somewhere, you know. Otherwise, I'd be inventing a place somewhere else.
Was there a time, I mean, because you say it's very different to what you normally write, was there a time where you think, I don't think this is working, or this isn't going the way that I want it to, and you had to amend what you did?
No, because I spent probably 6 months or more planning. I had a huge chart on the wall.
I bet that was nice, Leslie, wasn't it? Having charts all over your wall.
This was all
this
done
is
and
before-
dusted before I came.
Oh, right, I
on
see.
the scene.
Got you.
Yeah, I was doing this. I mean, I'd started it in 2017, and that was the time when my wife was very ill. She passed away Christmas 18. So 16, 17, I got this concept. I also invented the concept of Leaford Village at the same time. But because I was caring for two people, for 2 years I did nothing with it, really.
Yeah.
So it was 2019 when I started writing the quirky comedy Leaford Village with John Marks. And I really got into this. So I was really writing two things at the same time. But I had this big chart on the wall, which was very high-tech, Billy. You know what it was?
Poster notes.
No, it was four sheets of A4 blank, sellotaped together. On the wall. So it was like a big, is it A3 or was it A2?
No, it would be A2, wouldn't it? If it was
A2.
4 sheets.
And I put characters across the top with background. I've got background of all the characters.
Yeah.
Way back to when they were young.
Yeah.
Like they do in soap operas. And then the basic storyline, I started using arrows and link it all together. Then the supplementary characters came lower. So an awful lot of planning.
Yeah.
So I created this world, which you get to believe, you get to know them. And Ben Stone.
We talk about them as if they're real, don't we? Like we used to with the characters from Leaford Village serial.
Yeah. But Ben Stone is an accountant, and he worked for a national flooring company, which is now in Ulster. Now I did that, but I was the IT manager, so it's not me.
Yeah.
It's not even him.
Yeah.
It's just I've just taken
Influences from around. Has it
Influences.
sowed the seed to do something else in this field, or would you then be challenged to say, right, I'm going to do a 14th century historical novel?
No.
No.
It's the spark for this was the short story.
Yeah.
The idea. Although you probably wouldn't recognise a short story if you read that now, and I haven't reread the short story for 5 years. but we've got the germ of an idea for another novel,
Yeah,
haven't we?
and it's
That
something
we-
completely different. It's
that we
not.
might actually.
We might end up doing together,
We
or
might,
I'll have some input to it.
co-write.
Oh, that's
might
exciting,
co-write
isn't
with
it?
Leslie. So we've got an idea, which is.
It is just an idea at the moment. We
Yeah.
haven't really
I drafted
fleshed it
out
out
some,
at all.
drafted out some notes and things, and which would be completely different to this.
To this, which is
Just- and it would just be more a mystery adventure
yeah.
type book, but again contemporary fiction. But that could take
Yeah, another
2-3
5 years.
because
Yeah.
we want to do another album.
Yeah, yeah.
with the music as well. So.
Shall we do? Shall we play Simon and Garfunkel, and then we'll get Leslie to do the reading. So tell us about Simon and Garfunkel.
Up to you.
This song is purported to have been written on a railway station about 10 or 12 miles from where I was brought up. It's Homeward Bound. And again, it's one of these songs that tells a story, really, that appeals to us. And I think it's one of our go-to songs, isn't it?
What about the blue plaque?
Oh yes, it's supposed to be a blue plaque on the railway station. There's says something like Paul Simon was here, and it's forever being stolen. And when we're on stage and we say
I
this,
always say I've got 2 in the shed.
Oh,
So
great.
that's what we always say when we're doing it.
Yeah, great. Let's have a listen to it. Simon and Garfunkel, Homeward Bound.
I'm sitting in the railway station, got a ticket for my destination. On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. Homeward bound, I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for me. Every day is an endless stream of cigarettes and magazines. And each town looks the same to me, the movies and the factories, and every stranger's face I see reminds me that I long to be homeward bound. I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for me. Tonight I'll sing my songs again, I'll play the game and pretend. But all my words come back to me in shades of mediocrity, like emptiness and harmony. I need someone to comfort me. Homeward bound, I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for me. Silently for me.
We're on Black Country Extra, and we're talking about supernatural. And you're going to read us a piece from the book, and then Leslie's going to read a piece.
That's
so
right.
just explain the piece, and then, you know.
Well, before that, I've got a pre-release copy here.
It's a presentation.
It is a presentation. This is for Busking for Charity, if you like it, have it for,
Oh, fantastic.
for a raffle prize.
Brilliant. I'll get you to sign it
yes,
after.
of
yes, of
course.
course.
We'll get you to sign it
I'll
after.
later, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think our next event will be the 12th of June, 12th of June, 12th of January down at the Crafty Jar. We'll be kicking.
we must come down to the Crafty
we're
We'll
gonna try and
be
get down to the
we'll
Crafty
be
Jar.
kicking it off. Well, we did the presentations the other night, and it was just incredible.
Yeah.
Because this year we changed slightly. Where last year it was open, so it was just a normal event, so anybody could come in the pub. This year it closed, and we just invited all the charities, whoever wanted to come, were linked to that charity. And I think with Gig Caritas there were 9 charities there. And they all did a bit, and we,
Yeah.
you know, Hilary Bills presented all the checks and everything. Well, in fact, she did the checks because she just pushed me and Andy out the way and said, "Come here, I know how to do them." So the mayor was putting all the checks together for us. And it was a great night, really. So we kick off next Sunday at 5 o'clock. Right, Vision of Another Life. We're going to read a piece, so explain the piece. And
Yeah, this is quite simply the opening paragraph of the opening chapter, Vision of Another Life, and it's simply called The Village. So the opening paragraph. I can't see anything. Total darkness, but I know a main road is only feet away. I can hear traffic going by, the scent of trees and leaves to my left, the edge of the pavement to my right. 1 foot in front of the other, paving slabs beneath my feet. Stand still for a moment. Is anyone here to help me? A bird's wing flapping near a tree. I can sense the branches swaying, the wind gently brushing past, the rustle of grass, an animal, a squirrel. I'm in the middle of the pavement, safe there. A few steps, not too far, get your bearings. I'm on the left side of the road, walking in the direction of the traffic, passing close to the curb. Perhaps they're going into a town, commuters, shoppers. A little to the left, a driveway. It's wide. Not a house, at least not an average house. Walk a few yards. It's a warm day. My hand on the ground touches the stickiness, the gritty firmness of tarmac. Oddly reassuring, normal. At least 20 paces. This is a car park. A building to my left, a large building, shops, a clinic. Sit down now. Feeling tired, dizzy, need to sleep.
it's very descriptive, isn't
Yeah.
it? So, I mean, the opening paragraph just lays the scene, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
right, yeah.
which is brilliant. And Leslie's going to read a piece from later on.
Yeah.
So explain, give us an outline to the piece.
Before we do it, just when we get to chapter 2, it does go right back to chapter 2 is called Ben and Joanna, him and his wife, and it's all very nice, like you see in the American films or horror films. It's all very nice and twee, their life and all the amusing stuff. So it goes from dark to light, and then things start to
get
start to
darker,
happen.
Yeah. Did any of the horror movies or the movies of that ilk influence the way you write?
Not directly, but I mean, John said to me when he edited this book and the other writing he'd done, he said it's very filmic, as he describes it. And I'd not really thought of this. Well, when I'm writing, I always imagine the scenes, and what I did as well when I did Leave for Village and this, I got photographs off the internet, usually American, so they're not going to be recognised here, and use those pictures to imagine what the people look like. So I've got a bunch of photographs. They're not in the book, they're just for me, so I can see what Ben looks like, what his wife looks like. She's slim with blonde hair, he's quite chunky, rugby player type with dark hair, curly hair. You know, I know what they look like and what they sound like. So it's sort of, as I'm writing, it's like I'm writing a film script in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, Hollywood will take it next year, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
I need an agent. They'll believe if you're up for your 20%.
Oh, right. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay. So what part are you going to read?
Right, so
Leslie?
this is from chapter 8, and this is Ben's wife Joanna is attending a séance. She's going along with a friend. You know, it wasn't her idea. She's gone along with a friend. So I should explain that the clairvoyant is a lady called Andrea, whose daughter is also present, and she's called Lydia. On one side, I'm going to skip a little bit so get into the meat of it. Lydia, if you could switch off the light and close the door, we'll get started. 6 candles distributed around the room, one for each attendee, and one large candle in the centre of the table, gave enough light for each person to see the outline of Andrea's face. She instructed them to join hands, making a closed circle of 7 people. Please don't break the circle at any time until I say. If something does go wrong, which is rare, call out for Lydia, my daughter, who is in the next room. She'll know what to do. Andrea's instructions created a sense of tension in the room. Joanna wasn't sure if the other people had been to a séance before, but they seemed familiar with the procedure. Andrea started by bowing her head, almost touching the table, and the candles flickered. From the corner of her eye, Joanna noticed the door creep open. No lights on in the rest of the house. Lydia supports her mother, she assumed. She glanced across at Jill. She was staring forward, not at anyone in particular, concentrating. Joanna had not seen her friend like this before. A classroom assistant at school, she presented as a bubbly, vivacious young woman. Single, late 20s, string of boyfriends. She wasn't the type to take this seriously, if there is a type. Jill tightened her grip on Joanna's right hand. Not painful, nor reassuring, but somehow preparatory for what lay ahead. Andrea used the stereotypical opening lines to establish contact, and she seemed to engage in a stilted conversation with a group of the departed. Joanna was more convinced that it was clever stage work. Jill straightened up when Andrea talked about her grandmother joining them, wanting to contact a young lady, asking about Dad. Joanna considered even Jill capable of seeing through that. Too vague and general. A girl is trying to speak. Jackie? Julie? No, Jodie, that's right, Jodie. No one knew anyone called Jodie. I'm confused, I will admit, said Andrea. This might be someone speaking on behalf of Jodie, an uncle, perhaps, or grandfather. No one in the room reacted. A connection expected to elicit a sigh or a gasp. She wants to be with Peter. They won't be together for long, but they will be in love. At that, Joanna glanced at Jill. In the half-light, Jill stared back. Peter, she mouthed. Should explain that Joanna and Ben's son is called Peter.
Oh, blimey. Fantastic. Have you ever been to seance then?
No.
No. Yeah, fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And then obviously the story evolves and stuff like that. So,
it's first chapter 2, 3, 4. It's all sort of very nice family stuff. The young lad's going off to university. Peter is
The personal trainer.
personal trainer, but he'd done the classics of mathematics at university and all this, and he's very, very clever. But something happened. He dropped out, and he became a personal trainer at a gym. And strange things start to happen, and a couple of people who've read it, test readers, missed it. There was 2 or 3 characters that came in, because there's always going to be red herrings in books, but there are characters that sort of drop in and they become significant as it unfolds. So it's strange things happening to an ordinary family, which is a theme in a lot of particularly the American movies.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the last one I saw on the picture with the Scottish actor who went. They went out to a log cabin and another family joined them and all. I can't remember what it's called.
It's just been very nice and
so it starts all lovely and then in the end there's just blood everywhere.
Yeah. So. This isn't that bad.
It isn't that bad. I mean, it's not horror. So it gets a little bit meaty.
It's a bit sort of. I suppose.
But I think it's better when it's inferred rather than
yes, that's right.
Blatantly.
It's one of these where the penny will drop eventually as you're reading. It's good in that way.
There might be some red herrings, and it depends. Different people will pick up different things.
Yeah.
So you might go down a completely wrong track and then be surprised, or you might get it.
Yeah.
You might work it out quite early. You know what it is. Mind you, whenever I do that with programs, I always get it wrong, don't I?
Yeah. So. Shall we play Ed Sheeran and then we're going to play the song? We're going to get the song in,
I
aren't we?
wrote a song which is based on the concept of the book.
So we'll try and get that in then. So let's listen to Ed Sheeran, great song called Perfect.
I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in and follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, we're listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it, darling. You look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home. I found a love to carry more than just my secrets, to carry love, to carry children of our own. We are still kids, but we're so in love, fighting against all odds. I know we'll be alright this time, darling. Just hold my hand, be my girl, I'll be your man. I see my future in your eyes, baby. I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When I saw you in that dress, looking so beautiful, I don't deserve this, darling. You look perfect tonight. No, baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, or listening to our favorite song. I have faith in what I see. Now I know I have met an angel in person, and she looks perfect. I don't deserve it. You look perfect tonight.
Time for a bit of music here, and Mike, it's relative to the book, so tell us a bit about it and then we'll get the song.
It is. This is something that I wrote, but we sing it as Second Chance. So if we do another album, it'll go on the album next year, hopefully. It came to be, and it's based on the book, but it won't really make sense totally till you read the book.
Yeah.
Because there are a couple of references in there. There's a line that says, "Losing my childhood in stateside UC." Now, I'm not going to explain that because that would take away.
Yeah, it's just giving too much of a spoiler on that one.
So there's 3 or 4 references which, by the end of the book, some of these references will suddenly, so that's what he meant. But so I'm not going to explain what all that means. But it starts off with, where is this village? A place that I know. So he recognises the geography of the place, but of course his senses are all over the place. And we don't know why yet, why that is the case. And what is it? What is this weird place that have I died? I mean, it could be any number of things you might think, because no one is talking to him either. So, and that's so, and it's about memories being lost and memories gradually start to come back. So it's all about chapter 1 mainly, but with hints of other things. That's,
okay. Well, let's hear it then. Let's hear the song.
Okay, it came to be. Okay. Where is this village, a place that I know? Strangely familiar, but I wanna go back to the place that I lived in before. Back to the wife and the kids I adore. It came to be. It came to be. His destiny. So strange to me. Losing my childhood in stateside, you see. Couldn't believe they departed from me. Parents grow old and you learn from their ways. I was abandoned and left in a daze. It came to be. It came to be. His destiny. So strange to me. Memories returning, things I wanna know. Where is my family? I wish they would show the love that returns as my mind is not whole. Someone is trying to take full control. It came to be. It came to be. His destiny. So strange to me. It came to be. It came to be. It came to be. It came to be.
Beautiful song. Beautiful song. Your voices sound great. Absolutely brilliant. And so we've got a few minutes left. How about how people can get the book, where they can get the book from, how they can find out about you?
Okay. We've handed out quite a lot of flyers at all 13 libraries in Dudley. And hopefully, we're hoping there's going to be a big book launch at Dudley in the spring.
Yeah.
It could be an evening, and they won't do it in the winter, so probably April. Yeah. We're in discussion about that. But it'll be on sale from Amazon, amazon.co.uk, from Thursday the 9th. Paperback is $7.99, and the Kindle is $2.99 for Kindle download. Obviously, not everyone uses Amazon. So for people who don't shop online, they can either approach us at any gig we attend and have a chat, and I would get some extra author copies and sell it for cash.
Yeah.
Or they could contact me on the website www.michaelbraccia.co.uk. Leslie, we usually spell Braccia for everyone.
Braccia.
That's right, Michael Braccia.co.uk. On the contact page, or email michaelbraccia@hotmail.com.
Great stuff. Let's go into Elton John. Elton John and your song, obviously. Leslie, you said it's his favourite
It's
song.
Mike's favourite
Can
song.
I just say, I was on the Gary James show, was it a year ago, a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and he got me to introduce his song, and he was so impressed. He swapped seats.
Oh, did he?
He could take her. Because I just look, it's the best ballad of all time.
Well, he's not very well at the moment, so we'll shout out to Gary.
All the best
He's
to Gary.
one of them that's got a cold. So let's listen to Elton John and your song.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man who makes potions in a traveling show. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. Sat on the roof and kicked out the moss. Well, a few of the verses, well, they've got me quite cross, but the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do. You see, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. You can tell everybody this is the song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is while you're in the
world. Probably one of the greatest songs ever written. Elton John, yours. We're going out with Westlife, so we've got about a minute. Quickly, Westlife, that's...
Perhaps I should explain. We have a list of 150 songs, which is like a league table.
Oh, right.
And we keep track of where we've performed them and that sort of thing. And it's evolving all the time. We're bringing new ones in and dropping other ones off. And this is top of our league table and has been for a while.
We had a bit of a boy band phase.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And
we still do folk, but we do all sorts of music.
So
I think it's the way you interpret them anyway.
Yeah,
of course.
So this is one of our favourite songs to perform at the moment.
We love performing this one. So.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in.
Thank you.
And
Thank
good
you.
luck with the book.
Thank you.
And I'll get you to sign it now before we go.
That's lovely.
But we're going out with Westlife, and it's their classic, really. It's called Flying Without Wings.
Everybody's looking for that something, one thing that makes it all complete. You find it in the strangest places, places you never knew it could be. Some find it in the face of their children. Some find it in the lover's eyes. Who can deny the joy it brings when you found that special thing? You're flying without wings. Some find you cheering every morning. Some in the solitary night. You find it in the words of others. Simple line can make you laugh or cry. You find it in the deepest friendships. The kind you cherish all your life. And when you know how much that means, you found that special thing. You're flying without wings. So impossible as they may seem, you've got to fight for every dream. 'Cause who's to know which one you let go would have made you complete. Well, for me, it's waking up beside you to watch the sunrise on your face, to know that I can say I love you in any given time or place. It's little things that only I know. Those are the things that make you mine. And it's like flying without wings. 'Cause you're my special thing. I'm flying without wings. And you're the place my life begins, and you'll be where it ends. I'm flying without wings, and that's the joy you bring. I'm flying without wings.
Live from the Black Country,
On FM, on DAB, online, on your mobile.
we are Black Country Radio.